Today on America's Court with Judge Ross.
I have risen above the root chakra. I do not seek sex.
You're telling me, Judge, I did not try to kiss her.
Yes, sir.
Did you touch her at all?
Of course.
The whole purpose behind law is to right wrong. I want justice to be something that isn't this foreign concept.
Justice knows no boundaries. The truth will be heard. Fair, firm, compassionate. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Melina Chandler is suing yoga instructor Barun Das in the amount of $4,687.50. She says she took classes from the defendant and he did nothing but ogle her. Mr. Das says the plaintiff was giving him signs that she was interested in him.
All rise. Remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
All parties been sworn, Your Honor.
Get up to the talks. Ms. Chandler, you're into yoga.
Yes,
I
Your
like
Honor.
yoga. I like it. What made you decide to get into that?
Well, I had been practicing yoga on my own for years, but the classes in question, and particularly the spiritual guidance I had sought after liberating myself from a relationship that was toxic and both emotionally and physically abusive.
And so now you're suing Mr. Das for $4,687.50 because you want your money back from all of the classes that you had taken.
Yes, Your Honor, and actually I'm only suing for half of the value of the classes that I took with him.
All right.
I do feel that the technical yogic instruction that I received was of some value, but in the...
What dollar amount would you put on that value?
Well...
Because you're suing for half, so you're saying...
Right.
You had half of the value. Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Das, let me go to you. You are the actual instructor for this particular facility, right?
Yes, sir.
Is this your yoga studio?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been doing this, sir?
I've been doing yoga for many years at this facility for 10 years.
All right. And people who tend to follow you and come on a regular basis, what are some of the things you're hearing? Is it mostly women? Is it young, old? Is it men?
I offer my services to everybody.
Yes.
I would say that my demographic is mostly women. There is no... everybody is an individual, and so I try to treat them individually. There are certain generic poses and things that you need to go through, and my role is to point them in that direction and urge them in that direction.
And do you pretty much do it just yourself, or do you have a staff? How does that work?
Well, this class is run by me, and I take care of everything. You know, so I've booked the classes. I know each student personally, and
is it pay as you go?
There's a pay as you go, and there's a discount for operating on
A more long-term, already prepaid sessions.
Yes.
And, Your Honor, I was paying not only for the group yoga classes, which were charged $65 per class, but also
Which
for
is about
private...
the going rate. That's about right.
Yes,
And then
but
you
I was
wanted
also
additional?
for private spiritual guidance sessions that were charged at $125 per class.
Now that sounds kind of pricey.
And, well, I
you felt
certainly
you were getting
think so
something out of
now. I believed so. I have receipts for
like to see
fees
them,
paid
please.
if you'd like to see them.
And what made you decide to do your yoga training and teaching with Mr. Das?
Well, during one of our private sessions, you know, yoga is a physical practice, and I understand that from time to time it requires physical contact between a student and an instructor.
Well, especially in certain poses, because when I've tried it before.
Yes, yes, Your
And
Honor.
I used to say to people, what's the big deal? I mean, it's not that hard.
Well...
And then I went in there and I went, whoa, I can't quite get that, or stay there, or... You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're
It's, it's a little bit more involved than what it seems.
Yes, and
you were
I'm
having
not
problems
even, I'm
posing?
not questioning the appropriate physical contact from our yoga classes.
Okay.
What I'm calling into question is an incident during one of our private sessions when Mr. Davis made an explicit sexual advance on me. He tried to kiss me.
Well, I'm sorry, wait,
which was
I
not
thought it's DOS.
DOS is a term of respect, and quite frankly, after this incident, I don't feel comfortable addressing him with that
Oh,
spiritual
that's not your
title.
actual name.
It's not the name I was born with, but it is my actual name now.
Did you change your name?
Doing business as
All right, so on your driver's license, what's your last name?
Davis.
All right, so I'm going to refer to you as Mr. Davis. All right, and so but you're saying the DOS denotes a certain deference.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you no longer want to give him that deference.
No, Your Honor.
But at one point, you were giving him that deference.
Yes, Your Honor.
And something
I placed
happened
my
that caused
complete
you to
trust
change
in
that.
This man, yes.
All right, what was it that he did that violated your trust?
As I said during our private sessions,
Yes.
he made a sexual advance. He tried to kiss me without my permission.
That's
And
not true,
without
Your
any.
Honor.
It is true. It is
A lie
true.
unchallenged becomes the
Please
truth.
don't insult me.
Wait, I'm sorry, what did you say?
A lie unchallenged can become the truth.
Well, I'll be the judge of that.
Coming up on America's Court,
I have risen above the root chakra. I do not seek sex.
You're telling me, Judge, I did not try to kiss her.
Yes, sir.
Did you touch her at all?
Of course.
and later
His hand would slip, on my private parts, and I just felt
And
that
this
was...
is in the class with other people?
Yes, I just felt that he was...
Something was off.
closed captioning provided by This is America's Court with Judge Ross. We're back with the case of Melina Chandler, who is suing Barun Das for misrepresentation.
So it's your testimony that he was inappropriate towards you.
Yes, Your
Was
Honor.
it just the two of you there?
Yes, it was a private session.
And how did this, explain to me how it got to that point.
Well, during these private sessions, because there is the element of spiritual guidance and therapy, there's an element of healing and of giving and of vulnerability. He asks a lot and really delves into past trauma. And so he would ask about my past relationship, my previous relationships, and I would tell him. And I believe that
And what was it about your past
grossly,
relationship that was traumatic?
I was physically and emotionally abused.
By a boyfriend, a husband? Or,
Yes, by my boyfriend.
And you said physically as in you were a victim of domestic violence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did it go on for a period of time?
It did, Your Honor. And I luckily found the courage to free myself.
Was that the first time you had been in a
physically-
situation like that?
Yes, Your Honor.
That had to have been pretty traumatic.
And I was in a very vulnerable position and was being taken advantage of. And the ways that this was brought up again in this incident with Mr. Davis was incredibly painful. And quite frankly, I think I'm being incredibly just in only asking for half of the amount of money that I paid this man who presents himself as a spiritual leader, as a man of God, because he is not.
Mr. Davis?
She's a young girl who has not yet learned to master her body or her sexuality, and that's why she came to me.
That doesn't sound right.
Well, no, it's not right, and that's why I'm asking to help.
No, I'm saying, to me, that doesn't sound right. She's not 10. She's a grown woman. So when you say she hasn't learned how to master her body, what do you mean?
For the very same reason that she came to me, there's physical control and then control of your physique, of your chakra, of your divine energy. And when I awaken this divine energy, it can be misinterpreted as sexual energy. But it's
Your
not,
Honor,
because
I'm
I am
well
above.
aware.
Let him finish.
I have risen above the root chakra. I do not seek sex.
You're telling me, Judge, I did not try to kiss her.
Yes, sir.
Did you touch her at all?
Of course.
And you're saying that you were touching her, because when you say of course, I'm like, that's not a good answer for you. I'm just saying.
But I'm here to tell the truth. And to say
So
that
when
I
you
did
say
not touch
of course, you're saying from a standpoint of these poses, these yoga poses?
her. Exactly.
Prior to this incident, had he touched you before in a turn? I mean, I understand that from a technique standpoint, sometimes you say, oh, well, move your arm here, or was he touching you like that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did it feel uncomfortable or inappropriate for you?
I didn't feel uncomfortable at the time because I had absolute trust that this man was acting appropriately.
And once this situation happened, did you ever go back?
No, I immediately ceased going to classes.
Okay. And did you say to him, I want you to pay me back?
I
the
did.
monies? And your response was what? Was there a contract involved? What are we talking about?
I provided the services that I said I would, and even if she felt that I was inappropriate in some way, I don't see how that counts as a discount.
Really?
No.
You need to look deeper, because I see it.
And coming up on America's Court with Judge Ross.
His hand would slip on my private parts, and I just felt
And
that
this
was...
is in the class with other people?
Yes, I just felt that he was...
Something was off.
Closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. We're back with the case of Melina Chandler, who is suing Barun Das for misrepresentation.
In every other respect prior to that particular day, you were happy with the services he was performing.
I was. I felt slightly uncomfortable at times.
But you kept going back.
Because I was being asked to make myself vulnerable.
Coming back for private
He professes
sessions.
that it's part of the
He
road to
raises a good
spiritual
point.
healing.
And coming back for private sessions as opposed to sessions where there's a group, so you're not necessarily...
Where
so
$125 is not
Right.
outrageous.
I get it. I understand. I understand. This is very interesting. You have a witness. I don't know who this person is.
Yes, I do. My friend Christina, who has also been made uncomfortable in class,
Step
has
forward.
bravely volunteered to come support
What's your last
me.
name, ma'am?
my last name is Navarro.
Miss Navarre.
Yes.
You have been in the class with Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Why did you join his particular yoga studio?
Well, I did have a pretty much tragic event happen to me with the passing of my mother last year, so I started taking a spiritual journey, and
So it was a challenge for you dealing and coping with the loss of your mom.
yes, very.
And out of all the different ways you could have dealt with that, grief counseling, taking up something, whatever the form, you decided you were going to move in the direction of yoga.
Yes.
You hadn't been doing yoga prior to that?
No.
All right.
I was searching for an outlet for the stress it's caused emotionally, physically.
Do you feel you benefited from Mr. Davis's training and expertise?
No.
Okay. Why?
I was attending his yoga classes, and
How many?
just a few, not as many as her, maybe
So-
about 10 or so.
Over the course of a week, a month, 3 months?
About 3 months.
Okay. So for 3 months you went, and you obviously were feeling like you were getting something out of it because you kept going back.
I was going, well, at first, I did not feel any disrespect from him, but as I kept going more and more, I felt that he was disrespecting me.
How?
Well, when I was working on my poses, he
Your
would,
poses and the yoga poses?
Yes.
Yes.
he would be going around and he would be correcting my posture, but I just felt that his hand
Why'd you do that, correcting your posture?
Well-
Because typically I've seen that happen, where people's postures are corrected. But it
Yes,
just
but
left
I
you feeling a certain
feel
way?
I just got a bad vibe. I mean, his hand
Did he
would
say
slip.
or do anything to you?
His touching, it would just, I just didn't feel
Where
it
did he
was.
touch you?
His hand would slip, on my private parts, and I just felt
And
that
this
was.
is in the class with other people?
Yes,
And you were doing this while you were engaged in the yoga session.
yes. I just felt that he was.
Something was off.
Yes.
Coming up on America's Court.
We asked you to take a lie detector test, and you declined. You were willing to take one.
Yes, Your Honor, I was.
Here are the results.
Closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. We're back with the case of Melina Chandler, who is suing Barun Das for misrepresentation.
Did you sue him?
I did not.
Did you complain to anyone?
I kept it to myself for a while. I was just afraid to speak up.
Because?
I was already going through a lot, and I didn't want to even cause myself even more stress. And I wanted to
I'll
not
just
say
stop
anything.
going.
Yeah, I just felt vulnerable, and I felt that he was taking advantage of that. So just like her, I just,
And what made you decide to come today?
Well, Melina, my friend, she decided to speak up, and she gave me the courage to do the same.
Got it.
So through his class, I was thinking, well, with the inappropriate touching, at the time I was thinking, maybe it's just me. So I was still having distress, and that's when I
understand.
I sought for a Reiki energy healing that he had performed. But there was more touching within that healing.
Are you still going to yoga?
No.
You stopped going altogether.
I stopped going altogether. I just got discouraged.
Sorry to hear that. You weren't there when Mr. Davis and Ms. Chandler were in the situation, right?
No.
No. Thank you. You can be seated.
Thank you.
So I have a he say, she say situation here. And we asked you to take a lie detector test, and you declined. You were willing to take one.
Yes, Your Honor, I was.
Here are the results. The first question we asked was, were you attracted to yoga instructor Barun Das? You responded with the answer, no. The lie detector test found no deception. And the second question that was asked of you is, did Barun Das make an attempt to kiss you? You said yes. The lie detector test found inconclusive. It couldn't get a read one way or the other.
Judge Ross's verdict when America's Court returns. You're watching America's Court with Judge Ross. This is America's Court with Judge Ross.
My role as a judge is to look at the facts and make a decision based on, were you able to prove your case based on the preponderance of the evidence. And so what I have is, I've got you, and you're very credible. And it's not that he's so uncredible or not credible, but I don't have anything tangible to say with certainty to the level of the standard that's required by the law. And it's really tough to have to say this. But your matter's dismissed. Case closed.
All rise.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
People like Robert Smith are a problem, and women everywhere need to break the silence.
Like I said, a lie unchallenged can become the truth, and today the truth was revealed.
Follow America's Court on Facebook and Twitter. This has been a production. Today on America's Court with Judge Ross.
I decided I don't want to do this any longer, and you all cannot make me do this any longer. That $12,000 was supposed to go towards my college fund.
Where'd the money go?
We had family emergencies.
The whole purpose behind law is to right wrong. I want justice to be something that isn't this foreign concept.
Justice knows no boundaries. The truth will be heard. Fair, firm, compassionate. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Claire Smith is suing her mom, Kathy Smith, in the amount of $12,000. She claims her mom withheld her prize winnings when she was a child beauty contestant and spent it on herself.
All rise. Remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
All praise be sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Deputy Thomas. Okay, you and this crown. Wow. You are serious about your pageantry, aren't you?
Yes, I
And
am.
you got the trophy going. This is your daughter, right?
Absolutely.
All
That's
right.
my daughter.
Miss
That's my queen.
Smith and Mrs. Smith, we're suing here based on $12,000. I read the complaint. Now, what made you decide to bring the crown to court? I get the trophy, but I mean, how did you even get in the car?
Well, Your Honor, I take pride in my crown. I take pride in my trophies and all the hard work that's went into it. Right now, I do mentor young girls that are in pageants as well, so I wanted to wear my crown to represent pageants.
Now, I remember in reading the complaint, because you're suing your mom for $12,000 of your monies that you earned doing these pageants, yes?
Yes, sir.
And why are you suing your mom, though?
Well, I'm suing my mother because she signed me up as a child to do beauty pageants.
How young?
I was 9 years old.
Mom, why'd you sign her up to do these pageants?
Well, mind you, this is my only daughter, my little princess, if you will.
Big princess now. Huh?
Yes, yes, yes. She's grown into a
And I mean,
beautiful
it's
woman.
not just a little crown. I mean, it's like a crown.
Yes, it is. But mind you, she's put a lot of years and a lot of work into becoming the young woman that you see before you today.
All right.
Definitely a lot of dollars, thousands of dollars have gone into her etiquette and mind
Thousands
you,
of dollars that you had to exhaust. You and
Right.
your husband?
Yes,
Or
sir.
is it just you?
No, me and my husband.
Okay.
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
But however, it was because she wanted to become a princess. When she was small, she would put on my clothes and put on my jewelry and say, "Mom, I want to be a beauty queen." And so me and my husband got together and we decided to make her dreams come true.
Okay. And this is how she repays you, huh?
You know, children. Hello.
Well, but I mean, there are children, and then there are children who sue their parents.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, and that's where we are today.
That's not something that we see on a regular basis.
Right.
You have to be a little put off by this.
Yes, I am. I'm going to tell you, when I initially got the papers, when me and my husband initially got the papers, we just looked at each other and said, I don't believe she's taking us to court.
We have created a pageant monster here.
Well, we think over the years, we've tried to give her everything that she wanted.
But you didn't just sue him. I'm sure there had to have been a conversation before you said, okay, I'm going to sue you.
Well, no, Your Honor, there was not. I'm deeply hurt by having to even go about doing this. My parents, I love them deeply, but I had to do what I had to do because as a child, when she put me into this pageant work, it meant a lot to me in the beginning. I was excited to be dressed up and meet other little girls that were doing the same thing I was doing and things like that. But it grew old very quickly. First of all, the young girls that I entered in pageants with, they were always mean to me. Mm-hmm. And my mother didn't really help because she would put me in these etiquette classes and things like that, Your Honor, but at the same time, she would put her and my dad, mainly her, they would put so much pressure on me to win that it became more of a job.
Your Honor.
And that caused me also to grow up really, really fast because it became more about your future and this is what we want for you, sweetie, and it's going to help the family, and it's a lot of pressure that went into it.
Were you ever into this as a child?
Well, no, I was not in pageants as a child, but mind you, I didn't want to be in pageants. This was my daughter's dream. All of the pageants that she was trying to back out on were already prepaid for.
So with these pageants, you're saying that she would want to drop out, but they were already paid, so you said, no, we paid, you're going to go. Is that what it was?
Well, the ones towards the end, absolutely. We were already financially obligated.
So there was never a period where you didn't have her involved in this?
No, not at this particular point,
and so many times people say, my parents have put me in this situation, I don't want to do it anymore, and they go in the opposite direction. You come in with a crown. So that's telling me that even though you were like, you have embraced it, clearly.
Well, I did embrace it in the beginning. I won a couple pageants, and then after winning a couple, the pressure was on. And I told my mother, I did tell you I did not want to do this anymore. because it was too much. It was too much pressure. People were mean to me. I mean, I would come home crying, even when I would win, because it was just that cutthroat. It can be a very cutthroat field.
You sound like someone who plays football and runs track and does gymnastics and ice skates. I mean, the people who are in these competitive situations as they grow up, oftentimes they're like, do I really want to do this? What I'm seeing here with you is the girls were mean, you didn't want to do it, you didn't feel as though they had your support, but you walked in the courtroom, in my courtroom, with a crown on. And what you're basically telling me, by walking into this courtroom with that crown, and it's a crown.
Absolutely. There you go.
And when you walked into this court with a trophy, and it's a trophy.
Yes.
You're telling me and the world, this is who I am, this is what I'm about.
I still take pride in it, Your Honor, but I still earned $12,000 that I won for all of the hard work that I had put into these pageants. I won that money. And my mother told me, even after I was ready to give up as a child, she told me, I'm doing this for my college fund. So that $12,000 was going towards my college. Once I got really tired, I decided I don't want to do this any longer. And you all cannot make me do this any longer. That $12,000 was supposed to go towards my college fund, and they spent that money.
I thought it was actually that you were saying it was $14,000, but you paid her back $2,000. Is that what happened?
She took out a loan, a student loan for $14,000.
Okay.
We only had $2,000 left in her college fund.
Where'd the money go?
We had family emergencies.
Coming up on America's Court.
This is my precious daughter, who I invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into.
Say that again.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And later.
So you don't own the school?
No, I don't own the school, but I feel like I do.
Oh, well, maybe that's a problem. But go ahead.
Closed captioning provided by This is America's Court with Judge Ross. We're back with the case of Claire Smith, who is suing her mom, Kathy, for loss of income.
You're not disputing the fact that she earned this money.
No, we're not.
So really the issue is you had a set of circumstances that were unforeseeable.
And accommodating her on her senior year. Mind you, this is a...
What do you mean accommodating her?
Okay, for her class ring, we paid for her class ring. We sent her to the prom in a limousine, the whole 9 yards.
Becky Thomas and I were just talking about that.
Definitely grad night, all of the attributes that it takes.
Pictures.
Yes!
But Your Honor...
Oh my God, we're still hurting.
Applications for college.
But Your Honor, I also worked very hard. But I also worked very hard to maintain straight A's and to do all of those things. So you're doing your job as a mother, and I'm still working hard, and that money was supposed to be for me for school. And that's what I work for, and you're dismissing that, and you have not even apologized to me.
Well, dear heart.
And I'm your daughter, so you're sitting here telling him that this is what you're doing for me, as if I was asked to be here. That's your job, and I worked hard for that, and everything that I've done.
And that's what we're trying to do.
And you have not one time apologized for any of that.
So stop for a second. She said twice, you haven't apologized.
Yes, and I just said I'm sorry again to her. I have apologized to her on several occasions prior to us even finding out that we were coming to court, before the innuendo even came up, because mind you, this is my precious daughter, who I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into.
Say that again.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars into this child.
Say that again.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars into this child.
Not ones of dollars. Not tens of dollars. Not hundreds of dollars. Not thousands of dollars.
Say it, Judge.
What did she say?
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Mm-hmm.
Hundreds of thousands. I was just reading something the other day that said to raise a child in today's economy and today's wages, you need close to $250,000.
Absolutely. And more, because of the extra.
And we are sitting here talking about $12,000.
Absolutely.
And you're saying, Mom, too bad, I want my money and I want it now. You're so busy saying, Mom, you haven't apologized. What you haven't said was, Mom, thank you.
Oh, God.
Based on the evidence and the testimony before this court, the gavel is going to come down in favor of the defendant in this case. Because there's no disputing the fact that she has put in so much more money than this little small amount. And it's not a small amount, but in the overall scheme of things, it's small. Think about what this woman has done for you. And that's the message that you should be sending to these girls. It's not about the crown. It's not about the jewelry, the bling. It's not about the trophy. You kept saying, I won this. You had a team. Think about that. Your matter's dismissed. Case closed.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
I didn't mean to take my mother for granted, and I'm happy for everything she's done for me.
I love my little princess dearly, and she'll always have our support.
And coming up on America's Court with Judge Ross.
So you don't own the school?
No, I don't own the school, but
Okay.
I feel like I do.
Oh, well, maybe that's a problem. But go ahead.
Closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Amber Hampton is suing elementary school principal Richard Meyer in the amount of $450. She says the defendant owes her a refund for her son's tuition fees because he put him on a diet.
So, Ms. Hampton, you weren't getting all the meals that you paid for from the school, and Mr. Mayor is basically saying it was time for your son to lose a little weight.
Yes.
That's kind of harsh, sir. What was that about?
It's my school. That's the way I run it.
Well, okay. And you chose to go to this school because?
Because of the curriculum and the nutrition program that they offered. But I had no idea that my kid would be limited only to a salad.
We're talking about your son, right?
Yes.
And your son's name?
David.
How old is David?
David is 5.
He's 5.
Yes.
You hadn't been going to this school before.
No, actually, we moved here from New Orleans, Louisiana. And my husband got a promotion in his job.
Okay.
And we didn't really have much time to, search out a new school. So.
Where's your husband?
Sir? You don't
Excuse
run
me?
things. You are the principal at your school. I run this up in here. Look at me.
Thank you.
You don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Sorry, Your Honor.
All right,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
We really didn't have much time, so it was kind of a fast move. So that school kind of fit what we were looking for.
All right, so how long had you been going before you felt it was a problem?
A month.
And the issue was that you, what?
I found out at a PTA meeting that my son was put on a diet. He was limited to only salads.
All right, talk to me, Mr. Mayor. What was that about?
Well, this is my school.
You said
Victory
that.
Christian School.
Is it
It's
a,
a very
private
prominent
school?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And did you found it and you put your own money in it? When you say
No,
my
actually,
school?
I was brought on about 2 years ago.
All right, so you don't own the school.
No, I don't own the school, but I feel like I do.
Oh, well, maybe that's a problem. But go ahead.
I have an MBA in childhood education.
Okay.
I've taken several courses in nutrition.
All right.
I feel like these kids need to be fed in a healthy manner. And David's...
Are you living by example, sir?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
David's a chunky kid.
He's a chunky kid?
Yes, very much so.
And what would you describe your weight as being?
Well, I'm 200 pounds solid.
Coming up on America's Court.
You didn't ask them first, correct?
No, I didn't.
All right, that's a problem.
Closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. We're back with the case of Amber Hampton, who is suing Richard Meyer for breach of contract.
I can't imagine that you would be so removed from the psychological effects that would have on someone's life forever.
Well, I'm not starving the kid. I just altered his intake.
Is that true?
He's humiliating my son.
So David's not at the school anymore?
No, he's not.
All right, so
Very
then why are
well
we here?
so. I want my money back.
And what do you want money back for?
Registration and the meals.
And the registration was how much?
$250.
And the meals were what?
200.
And the meals consisted of what? You were supposed to have a certain meal plan for David?
A full meal, considered a full meal.
And what's a full meal considered?
I was some baked chicken, rice, a veggie.
So that's kind of the example of what you would
Yes.
get every day.
Yes.
And instead, what was he getting, sir?
When I serve baked chicken and potatoes and rice, I'm not going to serve that to David. David's going to have a salad, a healthy salad, not a garden salad, a chef salad. This is an oversized bowl. He's well fed.
So when you talk about making this decision, were there other kids that you were making this decision towards?
In the past, I have done this, but she's the first one to complain.
And I'm just trying to understand, why are you so invested in the whole aspect of this child's weight? I mean, is that a part of the school itself, or is this
These
something?
are my kids.
That was never discussed.
These are my
If it was
kids.
a problem in the beginning, I feel like he should have
Hold on a
said
moment.
something about it.
Do you have kids?
No.
So they weren't yours. Are you basically saying that David was still hungry?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
And is that, so did he come home and say that to you?
Yes, he did.
Because you said you didn't find
Several
out.
times he came home.
That's when
like
he got
he's
in
still
trouble.
Hungry.
About a week into the program, he got in trouble. He stole another kid's snack. I sent a note home explaining
That's
what
when we all
happened about the
discovered
incident.
how
Is that true?
hungry he was at school.
You didn't ask them first, correct?
No, I didn't.
All right. That's a problem.
Judge Ross's verdict when America's Court returns. You're watching America's Court with Judge Ross. This is America's Court with Judge Ross.
Based on the evidence and the testimony before this court, the gavel is going to come down in favor of the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
While I understand that the principal had good intentions, it's his execution that sucks.
Right. Exactly.
So are you entitled to the $200 in terms of the food? Yes, I think you're entitled to that.
Thank you.
The $250 for the new registration at the new school? I don't see that. Because basically what you're saying is that you didn't get the benefit of the bargain with the food that you were entitled to.
Yes.
This court recognizes that
Okay.
and acknowledges it. Your judgment will be $200. That is the order. Case closed.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $200.
This was a complete waste of my time. I could have been at school helping the children.
I'm glad I got some of my money back, at least the money for the food that he did not receive.
Follow America's Court on Facebook and Twitter. This has been a production of Entertainment